What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, StephenMotivate, back again with another episode of The Journey to Freedom. We're teaching you how to get free, how to think, how to act, so you can get to that firm financial foundation. And today, we're going to talk about a very important topic. And this is targeted to all of my Black brothers and sisters specifically, because I think we have a specific... I don't want to call it a problem, but it's an opportunity for us to better understand that we're not obligated to pay for everyone just because we're successful. We're not obligated. You're not obligated to pay for everyone just because you're successful. And for those of you on the road to success, when you get as much money as you think you want to get, you're still not obligated to help others in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I've got to. You're not obligated to do it. And I want to help Black people understand that today. So that's what we're going to talk about. And that's what we're going to dive into. I want you to stick around because I think it's going to help you understand how to handle the success that is for sure coming your way. All right, number one, let's talk about how we got here. How do we get here? And we were just in the studio talking together. And as we were talking, it occurred to me that, you know, at some point in life, especially in college, at least for me and my friends, we were everything. Like, you know, I wasn't around family anymore. I wasn't around folks that I grew up with. It was mostly just my true college friends. And so when we'd gone to class all week and it was time to go to the party for the weekend, we didn't want anyone to be left hanging. If they didn't have money, then come on, we'll all go together. Your money is my money and vice versa. You don't have something to eat? Come on. It's very communal, very much, hey, everything, we're sharing everything. And I think that's good and that's strong and that's positive and it's important for that season of life. What I think happens is some folks don't realize that season comes to an end, just like every season. But when you start to get to 30, 40, 50 years old, there should be some responsibility that you take and that everyone around you takes to make sure that they have enough for themselves. And if they have extra, great. And if they have more for others, great. But you should at least be able to cover your own bill, to cover your own hopes and dreams and that sort of thing. And what happens, I think this starts from that standpoint, but I think it goes even deeper. Black people always being the ones that feel like the first. I'm the first in my family to go to college, or I'm the first to have a corporate job, or I'm the first to make it to the NBA, or I'm the first to do this, first to do that. Whereas you look at some of our counterparts, white people in particular, and many times they're not the first. Their great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was a general in the Civil War, or they've got old guns or old medals. They can trace back their history. And so their foundation doesn't seem as shaky as ours. And because our foundation sometimes seems shaky, when one person makes it, some of us think, oh, we've got to grab onto that person because that's our only hope. That's our only chance. And if we're the one that did make it, we think that, oh, I've got to pull everyone up around me because they have a shaky foundation. And it's my responsibility to make sure that they're okay. And a tiny dose of that is good. A dose of that is godly, right? We see in the Bible, give to the poor, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And so some of that's good and some of that's healthy, but too much of that is not good. Too much of that is a disease, right? A dis-ease. You no longer have ease anymore. You no longer have comfort. You no longer have the flow you would have because you feel this obligation of folks pulling on you. And I want to help you understand that that's how it started, but that does not have to be where it ends. Sure, there's a logical explanation as to why we feel like we have to take care of everyone. If we're the breadwinner, there's a logical explanation, but I'm here to give you some new news that you don't have to do that. You are not obligated just because you're the breadwinner for your family, in your friend group, for your community, for your city. You're not obligated to give to everything or give to everyone just because you've become successful. And this is something you have to learn, because if you don't, you'll feel bad. You'll have emotional dis-ease because you're like, am I obligated? Should I help them? And I'm here to teach you that you don't necessarily have to. You can if you'd like, but if you do it too much, you may be hurting them more than actually helping them. All right, so that's point number one. That's how we got here, and it really comes from different starting points, from Black people to white people, and from Indian folks, all different type of races. And not to say there are some Black people that are super successful and they've always been that way. They have multiple generations that have been in college, and that's great. But for the vast majority of us, success is new to us, and so we've got to learn how to handle it. And so one of the things we've got to realize is that loyalty isn't real if it disappears when you level up. Just because you were the one that, made sure everyone had enough, everybody eats, right? We've heard that phrase, everybody eats, B. Everybody eats, B. That's a phrase from a movie called Paid in Full, where one of the guys that's, one of the bigger drug dealers in the movie is making sure everyone is, successful, so to speak. But really what was happening, and you find as the movie goes on, that there was jealousy happening. Jealousy was being breeded. And while someone looked like they were happy for the other person's success, by them continually asking for more, hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you buy that for me? It was actually a way for them to pluck at the other person's success, a way for them to cut them down some. That loyalty, a lot of times from people, disappears because when you level up, now they all of a sudden think, oh, you owe it to me. We were friends since we were in Pampers, so you owe it to me to give me an opportunity. But they don't. No one owes you anything. The Bible says that you owe no man but to love. So I should love you, but me loving you does not mean that I have to open my pocketbook for you. And I especially don't have to open it every time you ask, because I'm not actually helping you, I'm hurting you. Because when are you going to learn to fill your own pocketbook or be more responsible with your money or your time or your talents or your treasure or the gifts that God has given you? What are you doing with your life? If you're constantly looking for me or looking for the successful person to give to you, what are you doing with your time? Is God pleased with what you're doing with your time and energy? So we've got to be careful, Black people. You're not obligated, just because you're the breadwinner, to stick with people that when you level up, you start seeing signs of disloyalty or signs of greed or signs of take. Oh, you owe it to me, or signs of, what do we call that? It's entitlement. These signs of entitlement. Oh, I'm entitled to that because I knew him when I was passing him the ball when he was shooting, in the driveway. And so he owes some of his NBA success to me. No, he doesn't. No, she doesn't. You helped pass them the ball. You did what you needed to do in that season. You didn't show them how to keep getting that ball in the hoop. They did that work. You can't take their credit. That's their life. That's their success. And you have to stop feeling like you're obligated to get some of that success. And they, successful person, you've got to stop feeling like you're obligated to give up your success. It's not an obligation. If you do it, it needs to be out of free will. It needs to be out of your own will. All right. Point number 3. Stop apologizing for winning. Black people, stop apologizing for winning. You earned it. It's very difficult for a Black person especially to win in this environment. It's very difficult for you to have a strong family. It's very difficult for you to live in the neighborhood you live in. It's very difficult for you to drive the car you drive or have the bank account you have. You don't have to apologize for it. You earned it. No one gave that to you. You earned it. You don't have to apologize for being successful. You don't have to apologize because you're the one that made it out. Survivor's remorse. You don't have to apologize for it. And it's probably the fact that you are the first, or you come from a generation that everyone else didn't get it, where you feel like you're responsible. But maybe God gave you special ability so you can help the next generation, so you can be a pioneer for what's next. So you don't have to apologize for winning. You do not, successful person. Okay, point number 4, you have to find rooms where winning is normal and not hated. Winning is normal. And I respect LeBron James. LeBron has been a GOAT, certainly of, I don't think he's the GOAT of all time in terms of basketball. Let me be clear about that. But I do think he's the GOAT of putting his friends on and coming with the community. And wow, that's fantastic. And I hope more of us do that. I hope more of us find a way. But when you look at his friend group, everyone is now pretty much standing on their own 2 feet. You don't see anyone in his friend group, the popular group that we know about, the Rich Pauls, the Maverick Carters. These guys are, in their own right, respected businessmen, respected owners. They've earned what they've achieved. LeBron James was put in a position where he was able to do that, and I commend him, and I hope I can do that for those around me as well. But in reality, LeBron is the exception. In reality, if you're of the friend group and you made it to the NBA or you made it to the NFL, the likelihood that the people around you will earn as much money as you have earned, will be in the type of rooms that you have been in, is very low. They likely won't be there. And it doesn't make you a bad person if you decide to spend more of your time in rooms where winning is normal, where you're around people who have worked just as hard for their thing. To become a professional athlete is very, very difficult. To be the CEO of a business is a difficult thing. To be as successful at anything is difficult. But that difficulty is normal for those who have learned to win and learned to achieve. And we're not going to get into all the socioeconomic differences that cause people to win or not win. At the end of the day, if we kept it simple, there's a difference between winners and people who don't. And you've got to get in rooms where winning is normal. You've got to get around people where winning is normal, where $10,000 doesn't blow their mind, $100,000 doesn't make them fall out of the chair. It's normal. That's the type of level of responsibility we have. I like to say it like that. Not even just the level of money we deal with, because if you really understand money is a tool and not a toy, then you understand that it's more of a responsibility than it is just a frivolous thing that you get to have and play with. So you must find rooms where winning is normal. You should not be penalized for being successful. And many times, that's what happens. We were just talking before the show, and one of my friends mentioned that he was quoted maybe $1,500 to paint a room. And it's like, a bucket of paint costs $50. To paint a room maybe takes half a day, 4 hours, depending on what color you're using. So if it only costs $50 of supply, so someone wants to make $1,500 for half a day of work, why would they be doing that? Why would they charge so much for something that doesn't cost them that much? And you hear people say, charge what you want and, you're worth your price and all that. And some of that's true. But he was explaining that it was simply because of the neighborhood he lived in. Oh, you live in this nice neighborhood. You got it. You can afford it. So I'll overcharge you. You're not going to think about it. $1,500 is nothing to you. And that may be the case, but you've got to be very careful, because That's just one little example. But people around you, even your friends, even family, even without knowing it, even in their subconscious mind, they won't mean any harm. They're not trying to be mean to you. They're not trying to be the person that's just greedy and take. But even without knowing it, in their subconscious mind, they are penalizing you for being successful. Winning is so abnormal for them that even though they don't really mean to be this way, your winning actually produces a hate and an insecurity in them that they can't even articulate. And you just got to be careful, because you should not be penalized for being successful. You deserve to be in rooms where winning is normal, because that's the level you're at. And just because you're the breadwinner does not obligate you to take care of everybody, to pick up every bill. There is joy in giving. The Bible says it's better to give than to receive. But it should be out of free will. It shouldn't be obligatory. There shouldn't be this obligation that, oh, you owe it to me. And yes, the Black community is a community. It's a strong community. We have churches, we have schools. Some of these things we weren't even allowed to have for years, decades, centuries, not allowed to learn. So it makes sense that as Black people, we are more interconnected. We care more about our fellow man in a sense. And so we want to give. We want to pick up the tab. We want to, hey, if I'm getting a new pair of shoes, you should get a new pair of shoes. But when it starts getting a little out of control, oh, I'm getting a car, so, oh, you gonna get me a car too? Or I'm getting a house, oh, you gonna get me a house too? Or I'm going on vacation, oh, you gonna take me on vacation too? You do more harm than good when you always pick up the tab for everyone. And then you feel some insecurity because now you're sitting in a room full of people and it's like they expect you to pick it up. They expect you because, yeah, you make $1 million a year. Or, yeah, you've got on a fancy shirt or fancy clothes. But just because you have money does not mean you have money for that. And my father used to always say that. Just because I have money doesn't mean I have money for that. I've got some money, but I don't have money for that. I don't have money for all of your bills, for all of your hopes, dreams, wants, desires. No, the money I have is it's not just money, it's responsibility. And I don't use my responsibility frivolously. My money is a tool, not a toy. And so I use it as such. And I am not obligated to take care of your needs, your wants, your desires, just because I have some level of success. Number 5, this is the last point. You're not a villain for outgrowing what was meant to keep you small. You are not a villain for outgrowing what was meant to keep you small. You are literally building blueprint. And I'm talking to the successful person here. You are building a blueprint. You're not just living your dreams, you're building a blueprint for the next generation. So when we talk about building a firm financial foundation, it's really not just about us. It's not just about the my 4 and no more. Me not picking up the tab every time is really not selfish. It's really selfless, because I'm not thinking only about myself or the people I see around me. I'm actually thinking about the next generation. I'm actually thinking about my kids' kids. And the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Let that sink in. A good person. They're so, we talk a lot about folks being frivolous with their money and not doing the right things on our show. But you can also be successful and not do the right things. And by always picking up the tab, always trying to be the savior, uh, my mentor, Dr. Darius, calls it the messianic complex. You think you have to save everybody. You love Jesus and you want to be like Jesus. So in some ways, you try to be Jesus and think that you're the Messiah and I've got to save everything and everybody. But that's actually not your role. Your role is to lay a blueprint and a foundation and to show wisdom with what you're called to steward in this season, what you're called to manage in this season. And your management and your stewardship, if you do it right in your lifetime, can be a blessing, can be a blueprint for many generations to come. Many of us that are Black, we are the first. We are the first ones to see 7 figures in our bank account. To even, well, your parents never taught you about stocks. No one in your family never brought it up. We've only talked about football and basketball. We've only talked about the latest Jordans that were out. It's abnormal for you to be having these conversations about money and trusts and wills and insurance and life insurance and stock market and bonds and money market and 401ks and IRAs and Roth and pensions and funds and charities and 501c3. All of this is not normal conversation. And that's okay. Because you might be the one, you might be the generation that changes it for the next generation and the generation after that. And so this is why it's so important. And I'm talking to Black people. Just because you're successful doesn't mean that you're obligated to pay for everyone. The best thing for you to do is be wise with your finances. Be wise with your money. Be wise with the blessing that you're allowed to steward in this season, in this life. And that blessing could be the blueprint for future generations where maybe it doesn't become so much of a dis-ease. It doesn't become so much of an expectation because we grow past this idea that, oh, they'll pay for me. Oh, I can just ask this person. We grow into, okay, if I did it, you can do it too. But you're going to have to take some personal responsibility, a little less entitlement. And sure, I'm not saying that white people have gotten everything by pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. We know that's baloney. We know that's false. We know that you need to know people to open certain doors for you and do certain things, and you may need a loan here and there. But it shouldn't be that that's the only way. You should know how to take some personal responsibility and a lot less entitlement. Be responsible for your own hopes and dreams and pay for your own meal. At least offer to. At least have enough decency to offer to pay. I'll pick it up. Even if you know that they are 10 times more wealthier than you. That just shows that in your mind, I don't feel entitled at all. You don't owe me anything, Mr. Rich Person, Mr. Billionaire. You don't owe me anything. What God has for me is for me, and I can work with what I got now to get to where I want to go in the future. Look, I hope that helps you as much as it's helped me. Not having this entitlement mindset has been such a jewel for me. And I've started to realize, hey, I'm not in college anymore. I could loan you $5 to get into the party, but I'm not going to loan you $500,000 to sign up for a house. You're going to have to do some of this work yourself. You're going to have to show that you can take your own personal responsibility. It's just because I'm a breadwinner, whether that's with my family, my friends, colleagues, associates, whomever. Doesn't mean I'm obligated. You got to get it for yourself. And you can get it for yourself. And look, we want to help you do that as much as possible. And it starts with having the right mindset. Hope this helped you. Much as this helped me. Until next time, I only want you to do one thing. That's to stay motivated. It's your boy, StephenMotivate. Until next time, peace.